They wrote you off before you ever had a chance to begin. They spoke your failure into existence before you even took your first step. They told you who you were, what you were worth, and how far you could go before you ever had the chance to decide for yourself. They didn't see potential in you. They didn't see greatness. They saw limits, boundaries, walls that could never be climbed. And with every word, every doubt, every dismissal, they built a prison around your name, locking you inside their small, comfortable definition of you. They'll never be anything special. They don't have what it takes. They're just like the rest. They're wasting their time. They whispered it behind your back, laughed about it in rooms you were never invited into. They took one look at you and decided you were forgettable, replaceable, ordinary. And the worst part, somewhere along the way you started to believe them. Because when the world tells you a lie long enough, it starts to feel like truth. When they look past you, talk over you, doubt you enough times, their voices become the ones in your own head. You start shrinking to fit their expectations. You start questioning the fire that once burned inside you. You start asking yourself if maybe they were right. Maybe you were never meant to do anything great. Maybe you were never meant to stand out. Maybe this world was never meant to remember your name. But listen to me. Listen to me. This is not a speech. This is not soft encouragement wrapped in pretty words. This is a war cry. This is a call to battle against every lie they sold you, every doubt they planted, every ceiling they built over your head. This is me, standing in the fire with you, looking you in the eyes, shaking you until you wake up and see the truth for yourself. Because the truth, the real, undeniable, unshakable truth, they were wrong. They were always wrong. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to be small. You were never meant to bow your head and accept their version of you. They wrote you off, but you are going to write history. They mistook your silence for weakness. They mistook your setbacks for endings. They thought that just because you weren't shining yet, you never would. But what they didn't know, what they never could have seen, was that you weren't finished. You were just loading. Because legends aren't made overnight. Warriors aren't born, they are forged. And you, my friend, you have been walking through fire your whole life. They thought they buried you, but they didn't know you were a seed. They thought they silenced you, but they didn't know you were writing your own story. They thought they defeated you, but they didn't know you were just getting started. They wrote you off because it was easier than believing in you. They dismissed you because it required no effort. It cost them nothing to doubt you, but it would cost you everything to believe them. And that's why you can't. That's why you won't. Because let me tell you something about people who changed the world. They weren't the ones who were chosen. They weren't the ones who had everything handed to them. They weren't the ones who were expected to be great. No, they were the ones nobody saw coming. They were the ones who were counted out, dismissed, doubted, pushed aside. They were the ones who heard "you can't" so many times that they finally snapped and said, "Watch me." And you were one of them. They thought you would accept your place, but they didn't know. You were never waiting for permission. They thought they could define your story, but they didn't know only you hold the pen. So here's what's going to happen. You are going to rise. You are going to shatter every expectation, every assumption, every label they tried to place on you. You are going to take every time they doubted you, every time they overlooked you, every time they wrote you off, and you are going to use it as fuel. They don't get to decide your ending. They don't get to write your legacy. They don't get to win. This is your story, your fight, your history waiting to be written. And if they counted you out, if they thought this was the end of your road, then they just made the biggest mistake of their lives. Because this is where it begins. They don't see you. They never did. You've spent your life standing in the background, waiting for your moment, hoping, just once, that someone would notice, that someone would see beyond the surface, past their assumptions, past their indifference, and recognize the fire inside you. But they didn't. They walked past you like you weren't even there. They looked through you as if you were invisible. They spoke around you, as if your voice was nothing but background noise. You were forgotten. Not because you weren't enough. Not because you weren't capable, but because people have a way of discarding anything they don't immediately understand. And you were never meant to fit inside their small expectations. But being ignored for too long does something to a person. At first, you fight it. You push harder, you raise your voice, you try to prove yourself, hoping that if you just work a little more, shine a little brighter, make yourself a little smaller or a little bigger, then maybe, just maybe, they'll finally acknowledge you. But when they don't, when the world keeps moving without you, when they keep choosing someone else, when the opportunities slip through your fingers no matter how hard you chase them, Something inside you starts to break. The fire that once burned inside you starts to flicker. The belief that you were made for more starts to fade. And in its place, the voices come. Not the voices of the people who ignored you. Not the voices of the ones who doubted you. No, this time the voice is your own. And it whispers, maybe they were right. Maybe you really aren't special. Maybe you really don't have what it takes. Maybe you've been fooling yourself this entire time. Because why else would it be this hard? Why else would the doors keep closing? Why else would life feel like an endless uphill battle with no finish line in sight? And so, little by little, you start shrinking into the shadows. Not because you want to, not because you don't care, but because it hurts less to disappear than it does to keep trying and failing. And this is how dreams die. Not in one catastrophic moment, not in a dramatic fiery explosion, but slowly, quietly, in the empty spaces where you should have been seen, but never were. The villains in your story, self-doob, fear, and betrayal. But the pain of being forgotten isn't just about being overlooked. It's about the war that starts inside you because of it. And there are 3 enemies that will try to break you. Self-doubt, DEWBT, the voice that tells you you're not enough, that even if you tried your hardest, you would still fall short, that there is nothing extraordinary about you. Fear, the paralyzing belief that if you step forward, you will fail, that you will be humiliated, that you will lose everything, and it will be your own fault. Betrayal, the knife in your back from the ones who should have stood beside you, the people who should have believed in you but didn't, the ones who left, laughed, or never looked back. And these enemies, they don't fight fair. They creep in when you're at your weakest. They wrap around you like chains, tightening every time you try to rise. They take the truth and twist it until you can't tell the difference between your thoughts and the lies they've planted inside you. And that's how they win. Not by defeating you outright, but by convincing you to defeat yourself. The moments that break you. It's the job you never got, the love that never stayed, the dream that slipped through your hands no matter how tightly you held on. It's the rejection letter, the unanswered call, the opportunities that were handed to someone else while you stood in the back, wondering what made them more worthy than you. It's the way they celebrated everyone else but never mentioned your name. It's the way your hard work went unnoticed while mediocrity was rewarded. It's the way people only remember you when they need something, never when it's time to give credit where it's due. And so, you start asking the question that has the power to destroy you. What if I was never meant for more? Because there's a special kind of pain that comes with being forgotten. It's the kind that doesn't just hurt, it changes you. It makes you question everything you once believed about yourself. It makes you hesitate when you once moved fearlessly. It makes you settle for less when you once dared to dream of more. When you settle, you become exactly what they expected you to be. Small, silent, unremarkable. And maybe that's why it hurts the most. Because the truth is, you could have been great. But somewhere along the way, you let them convince you otherwise. The despair that swallows you whole. You tell yourself you're fine, that it doesn't matter, that you never needed them to believe in you anyway. But deep down, in the quiet moments when no one is watching, it eats at you. The regret, the doubt, the sickening feeling that you let something slip through your fingers that you will never get back. You start to wonder if you waited too long, if the window of opportunity has already closed, if you missed your one shot at being something more than just another name lost in the crowd. And so, the fight leaves you. Not because you don't want to keep going, but because you're tired. Tired of trying, tired of failing, tired of being the only one who ever saw the potential in yourself. Because what's the point of believing in something no one else can see? What's the point of fighting for something if you're the only one who cares? What's the point of chasing a dream that seems to run faster than you ever could? Maybe they were right. Maybe you were never meant to make history. Maybe you were never meant to be remembered. Maybe the story was never yours to write in the first place. But listen to me. Stop. Right there. Do not let that thought take root. Do not let the lie sink into your bones. Do not let the world write your ending before you've even had the chance to begin. Because this is exactly where they want you. Worn out, broken, defeated, too tired to rise, too hopeless to try again. And that's the moment, the exact second when you have to decide. Do you let them be right? Do you let them erase you? Do you let them win? Or do you take every moment of pain, every doubt, every rejection, and use it to prove them all wrong? Because let me tell you something. You are not finished. They might have ignored you, underestimated you, counted you out, but they made a mistake. They should have never forgotten your name, because soon the whole world is going to remember it, and it starts right now. There comes a time in your life when the world stops pretending to care. At first, they encourage you. They smile, nod, tell you to chase your dreams. They act like they believe in you, until it stops being convenient, until your success takes too long, until your dreams start making them uncomfortable, until your ambition reminds them of everything they gave up on. And then the shift happens. The same people who once told you to dream big start telling you to be realistic. The ones who clapped for you in the beginning now barely acknowledge your efforts. The ones who once stood beside you slowly start to disappear, and suddenly you find yourself standing at the edge of failure. Alone. No applause. No encouragement. No one checking in to see if you're okay. Because people love a success story, but no one sticks around for the struggle. And so, the silence sets in. The quiet emptiness of a phone that doesn't ring. The hollow feeling of pouring your soul into something and getting nothing in return. The gut-wrenching realization that you could disappear right now and the world would keep moving like you were never here. And you start to wonder, was it all for nothing? The conversation in your head. This is where the voices come back. Not the ones from the people who doubted you. Not the ones from the world that turned its back. Your own voice. The one that used to be so sure, so confident. The one that used to believe in something greater. But now, it's a whisper. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I should quit. Maybe this is just how life is. Some people make it and some don't. Maybe I was never meant to be anything more than this. The thoughts don't come all at once. They creep in slowly, like cracks in a foundation. A little doubt here, little hesitation there, until one day you wake up and don't recognize yourself anymore. You used to be the fighter. You used to be the one who wouldn't take no for an answer. You used to be the one who believed. But now you're tired. Tired of trying. Tired of failing. Tired of holding on to a dream that feels further away every time you reach for it. And for the first time in your life, you start thinking about giving up. Not just slowing down. Not just taking a break. Quitting. Completely. Forever. Because what's the point of fighting for something no one else believes in? What's the point of trying when life keeps knocking you down? What's the point of hoping for more when all you've ever gotten is less? Maybe they were right. Maybe you were wasting your time. Maybe you were never meant to rise. When the people you counted on disappear. And just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Because when failure comes knocking, people start leaving. The ones who once cheered for you suddenly go silent. The ones who once promised to stand by you vanish. The ones who said they believed in you start avoiding your calls. Because no one wants to be associated with someone who's losing. And if you listen closely, you can hear the whispers. I knew they wouldn't make it. They should have just taken the safe route. They're still chasing that dream. How embarrassing. Betrayal cuts deeper than failure ever could. Because you could survive the rejection, you could survive the struggle, you could even survive the pain of feeling invisible. But watching the people who once stood beside you walk away, that's a different kind of hurt. And it makes you ask yourself the question that can break a person in half. Am I really worth fighting for if no one else thinks so? The weight of past mistakes. And just when you think you've hit rock bottom, your past shows up to remind you why you'll never escape. Because let's be honest, you're not perfect. You've made mistakes, you've hurt people, you've failed more times than you can count. And now, when you need a reason to keep going, all you can see are the reasons to stop. The relationships you ruined, the opportunities you wasted, the time you can never get back. It all comes rushing in like a tidal wave, drowning you in regret. You don't deserve another chance. You'll never outrun your past. No matter how hard you try, you'll always be the same person you were before. And for a moment, a long, painful moment, you start to believe it. Because maybe you really are too broken to fix. Maybe you've made too many mistakes. Maybe you've already lost too much to ever get it back. Maybe this is just who you are. And if that's true, then what's the point of fighting? What's the point of hoping? What's the point of trying to become something you were never meant to be? The question that changes everything. But just when you're about to surrender to the weight of it all, just when you're ready to accept defeat, just when you're convinced this is the end of your story, a thought breaks through the darkness, a whisper, a flicker, a voice so small it almost goes unnoticed. But what if they were wrong? What if every doubt, every insult, every rejection was never the truth? What if the world turned its back on you? Not because you weren't enough, but because they were never meant to see your worth. What if your past mistakes were never proof of your failure, but lessons to prepare you for what's next? What if every time you fell, every time you struggled, every time you got knocked down, wasn't a sign to quit, but a sign to keep fighting? Because here's the truth. The world turning its back on you wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The rejection was redirection. The failure was training. The pain was fuel. And every single person who counted you out just made the biggest mistake of their lives, because they thought you would break. They thought you would quit. They thought they could turn their backs, walk away, and leave you behind. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, was that you were never waiting for them to believe in you, because you never needed their approval. You never needed their validation. You never needed their permission. You just needed a reason to prove them all wrong. And now you have it. They thought they buried you. They threw dirt over your name, covered you in doubt, and walked away as if you'd never rise again. They laughed as you struggled, whispered about you in rooms you were never invited into, and acted like your failure was final. But what they didn't realize, what they never saw coming, was that you weren't buried, you were planted. Every rejection, every doubt, every obstacle that tried to crush you, it wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Because inside you, beneath the surface, beneath the weight of everything they said you'd never be, something has been growing. A strength that refuses to be broken, a fire that refuses to burn out, a power that has been waiting for the right moment to break through. And now is the time, because you, yes, you, were stronger than you've ever known. The power they never saw, you were never weak. You were never incapable. You were never meant to be ordinary. But the problem is, they convinced you that you were. They spent years making you believe you were fragile, that you weren't built for this, that you weren't made for something greater. And after a while, their voices became your own. But let me remind you of something. You have survived things that would have destroyed most people. You have walked through storms that should have washed you away. You have carried burdens that would have crushed the average person. And yet, you're still here. Do you understand what that means? It means that every time life tried to break you, you held your ground. Every time failure knocked you down, you got back up. Every time doubt whispered in your ear, you kept going anyway. You have a warrior soul inside you, and it's time to remember what that means. A phoenix in the ash. Some people break when life gets hard. They let the pain define them. They let the setbacks stop them. They let the opinions of the world convince them that they aren't enough. But you were never meant to stay in the fire. You were meant to rise from it. Like a phoenix, you were reborn from the ashes. The fire that was meant to destroy you, it only made you stronger. The pain that was supposed to silence you, it only gave you a new voice. The darkness that tried to consume you, it only made you shine brighter. Because strength isn't given, it's earned. And every single battle you've fought, every tear you've cried, every scar you carry, it's proof that you didn't just survive, you became unstoppable. The lion chained. There's something dangerous about a lion that has been chained for too long. At first, it forgets. It forgets its power. It forgets its strength. It forgets that it was never meant to be contained. But the moment it remembers, the moment it realizes who it truly is, nothing can hold it back. And that's you. For too long, you have believed in limits that were never real. For too long, you have let the world put chains on your potential. For too long, you have accepted the small, caged version of yourself that they wanted you to be. But deep inside, you've always known the truth. You were never meant to be tame. You were never meant to be silent. You were never meant to be anything less than unstoppable. And now, it's time to break the chains. The strength you forgot you had. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. You don't need their validation to become who you were meant to be. Because everything you need, it's already inside you. The strength, the fire, the ability to rise again, no matter how many times you fall. You've been tested, you've been doubted, you've been through hell and back, and yet you're still here. That's not an accident. That's not luck. That's proof of who you really are. Because someone who wasn't meant for greatness, they wouldn't have made it this far. Someone who wasn't built for something bigger, they would have given up a long time ago. But you kept going. You fought through it. You refused to quit. And now, it's time to claim what's yours, because the world might have written you off. But now, it's time for you to write history. Your story isn't over. Listen to me. Your story is not over. This is not where you stop. This is not where you settle. This is not where you let them win. Because you weren't meant for the background. You weren't meant to be forgotten. You weren't meant to fade into nothing. You were meant to rise. You were meant to overcome. You were meant to change everything. And if they thought you were done, if they thought they could write you out of the story, if they thought they could turn their backs and leave you behind, they were wrong. Because this is your moment. And nothing is going to stop you now. There comes a moment in every story, in every life, where the road splits in two. One path is familiar, one path is safe, one path is everything you've known. Pain, doubt, limitation. The other, it's unknown. It's terrifying, it's full of risks, full of challenges, full of moments that will push you to your absolute limit. And right now you are standing at the crossroads. This is the moment that will define you. This is the moment that will decide who you become. Because after everything you've been through, after all the pain, all the rejection, all the moments where the world turned its back on you, you have a choice to make. Do you stay down or do you rise? The lie of comfortvis, the fire of transformation. The easy choice, it's to stay where you are, to sit in the shadows, to shrink, to let the weight of everything that has happened convince you that this is it. Because let's be honest, giving up is easy. Letting go of your dreams is easy. Accepting a life that is less than what you deserve, that's easy. And that's why most people do it. That's why most people settle. That's why most people live their entire lives in quiet frustration, knowing they could have been so much more. But you are not most people. Because inside you, there is a fire that refuses to go out. Inside you, there is a voice screaming that this is not where your story ends. Inside you, there is a warrior waiting to be unleashed. And that's why you have a choice to make. Stay where you are and become what they expected, or fight like hell to become what you were meant to be. Your scars are your proof. Look at yourself. Look at everything you've survived. Look at everything you've endured. Look at the scars on your soul, on your heart, on your mind. Do you see them? Do you feel them? Good. Because those scars, they are not signs of weakness. They are not signs of failure. They are not proof that you lost. They are proof that you survived. That no matter what life threw at you, you kept going. That no matter how many times you were knocked down, you stood back up. That no matter how many people doubted you, ignored you, betrayed you, you refused to disappear. Your scars are your armor. Your scars are your power. Your scars are your proof that nothing can break you. And now it's time to use them. The spark of transformation. Right now, in this moment, something inside you is waking up. The version of you that they tried to erase. The version of you that once believed in the impossible. The version of you that knows damn well you were meant for more. And that version, it's not asking for permission anymore. It's not waiting for approval. It's not waiting for the right time. It's not waiting for anyone to believe in it, because it finally understands the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you your success. No one is going to give you the life you deserve. No one is going to fight for you. This is on you. And in this moment, right here, right now, you have a decision to make. Do you let them win? Do you let them keep you in the shadows? Do you let them decide your future? Or do you take back the pen and write your own damn history? The battle cry, they refused to stay silent, they were right. They refused to stay silent, they were right. They refused to stay silent, they were right. They refused to stay silent, they were ruined. 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 They refused to stay superhero, they flexed their power, you gave them sibling. They thought you would fade away. They thought this was the end of your story, but they were wrong. Because now, they don't get to write your ending. Now they don't get to decide your fate. Now they don't get to dictate what you are capable of. You do. You are the author of your life. You are the creator of your legacy. You are the force that cannot be stopped. So let them doubt you. Let them laugh. Let them say you'll never make it. And then, prove them wrong. Because the greatest revenge is rewriting history. And your story is just getting started. Something is different now. The fear that once held you back, it no longer controls you. The doubt that once whispered in your ear, it no longer defines you. The voices that told you to stay small, to accept defeat, to surrender, they no longer matter. Because now there is something burning inside you. Something unstoppable, something relentless, something unshaken by failure, by rejection, by the weight of the past. It is not just hope. It is not just motivation. It is defiance. The unbreakable decision that no matter what stands in your way, you will keep moving forward. The unshakable belief that nothing, not failure, not fear, not the opinions of others, will stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. You have made your decision. You are done playing small. You are done waiting for permission. Now you fight. The war you must face. But listen to me. No one said this would be easy. This road, it's brutal. This journey, it will test everything you are. Because the second you decide to rise, the world will push back. The moment you choose to step into your greatness, life will demand you prove you are worthy of it. You will face setbacks. You will face obstacles. You will fall. You will fail. There will be days when you want to quit. There will be moments when it feels like nothing is working. There will be times when the old doubts creep back in, whispering that you were a fool to believe you could be more. But this time, you will not break, because you know something now that you didn't know before. The struggle is not here to stop you. The struggle is here to shape you. How pressure creates power. Greatness is not given, it is forged. Like steel in fire, like diamonds under pressure, like legends in the face of impossible odds. Everything that has tried to break you, it was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to make you stronger. It was meant to strip away the weakness, the doubt, the hesitation, and leave behind something unstoppable. Because strength is not built in comfort, success is not handed to the untested. Victory does not belong to the ones who never fought. It belongs to those who kept going. It belongs to those who took the pain and turned it into power. It belongs to those who stood in the fire and refused to burn. And that is you. Self-belief, the foundation of all success. It doesn't matter what they say about you. It doesn't matter how many times you've been rejected. It doesn't even matter how many times you've failed. Because at the end of the day, success is not about talent. It is not about luck. It is not about who gets the easiest road. It is about belief. The belief that you are capable. The belief that you are worthy. The belief that you are the belief that no matter how hard it gets, you will not stop. Because the truth is, people don't lose when they fail. They don't lose when they get knocked down. They don't lose when the world doubts them. They lose when they stop believing in themselves. But you are not here to lose. You are not here to quit. You are not here to be forgotten. You are here to rise. You are here to endure. You are here to make history. The fire that will carry you forward. This is not the end of your struggle. There will still be battles ahead. There will still be days that test you. But now you are ready. Because the fire inside you, it is unbreakable. Because the strength inside you, it will carry you through anything. And when the world looks back, when they see everything you've accomplished, when they realize that nothing could break you, they will finally understand the truth. They wrote you off, but you are writing history, and nothing can stop you now. Enough waiting, enough hoping, enough standing in the shadows, waiting for a chance that will never come. This is not the time for hesitation. This is not the time for excuses. This is not the time for waiting for someone else to open the door for you. This is the time for action, because for too long you have let life happen to you. For too long you have let doubt hold you back. For too long you have played by their rules, lived by their limits, believed in their lies. No more. Now you rise. Now you take control. Now you become everything they said you could never be. Because the greatest revenge is proving them wrong. Breaking the chains. Destroying limits. They spent years putting chains on you. Chains of doubt, chains of fear, chains of expectation, telling you who you should be, what you should do, how far you could go. And for a long time you believed them. You let them define your worth. You let them decide your future. You let them place a ceiling over your potential, trapping you in a life that was never meant to be yours. But now, look at yourself. Look at the power in your hands. Look at the fire in your soul. Look at the strength you never realized you had. And now, with everything inside you, break the chains, shatter every expectation, destroy every limit, rip apart the doubts that tried to hold you back. Because they thought they could cage you. They thought they could silence you. They thought they could keep you small. They were wrong. Because you were never meant to be contained. You were never meant to live by their rules. You were never meant to play it safe. You were meant to defy them. You were meant to break through. You were meant to rise higher than they ever imagined. Running toward your future. Stop looking back. Stop carrying the weight of the past. Stop giving your energy to the things that no longer serve you. Your future is ahead of you. And now, it's time to run toward it with everything you've got. No more hesitation, no more fear, no more wondering if you're ready, because you are. This is not just about proving them wrong. This is about proving yourself right. You always knew you were meant for more. You always knew you had something inside you. You always knew that your story wasn't over. And now, every step you take is a punch against doubt. Every victory, no matter how small, is proof that you were never meant to stay down. Every time you rise, you make it clear. You are unstoppable. No more waiting for permission. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've been waiting for the right time, it's now. If you've been waiting for someone to believe in you, believe in yourself. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to give you your dreams. No one is going to hand you the life you deserve. You have to take it. You have to fight for it. You have to refuse to settle. You have to demand the life that was always meant to be yours. This is the moment. This is the turning point. This is where everything changes. Because from this point on, you are the one in control. Celebrating every small victory. Progress is not about massive leaps. It's not about overnight success. It's not about sudden miraculous transformation. It's about the small victories, the decision to wake up and try again, the moment you choose faith over fear, the extra hour you put into your dream when no one is watching, because every small step forward is a battle won. Every little breakthrough is another strike against the voices that told you it was impossible. And brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice, you are building a future no one can take from you. A future where you stand tall, unshaken, unbreakable. A future where the doubts are silenced. A future where the world looks at you and finally understands. They should have never counted you out. The final message. You write history. They thought this was the end of your story. They thought they could define you. They thought they could erase you. But they were wrong, because you are the author of your own destiny. Because you get to decide how this story ends. Because you are not just surviving, you are thriving. And when they look back, when they see everything you've accomplished, when they realize that nothing could stop you, your name will not be on the list of those who quit. Your name will not be on the list of those who were forgotten. Your name will not be on the list of those who stayed small. Your name, it will be written among the greats. It will be remembered as the one they underestimated. It will be proof that nothing, nothing, can stop the person who refuses to be erased. They wrote you off, but you wrote history.